Fox 9 News at 6.
And thank you for joining us here on Fox 9 and Fox Local. Our top story this hour, measles, now spreading at a concerning rate across the country.
In fact, the Department of Health is now urging parents of school-age children to get those children vaccinated. Tim Plotz joins us now with an urgent plea. And Tim, as I understand, there's a lot of children out there behind on their shots.
Especially those going into kindergarten. Now, ever since the pandemic, an epidemiologist with the Department of Health says not as many parents are getting their kids their measles vaccination.
Definitely seen a decline in readiness for kindergarten, certainly since pre-pandemic. You know, we've seen a decline from 83% of 2-year-olds having MMR in 2019 to 78% in 2023.
Now, that gap in immunizations is what led to 3 reported cases of measles in Minnesota last week, one in Anoka, Hennepin, and Ramsey counties. Now, the good news is no new cases so far this week, so everything is stable right now in Minnesota. However, there has been an outbreak across the country now that's being tracked by the CDC. 13 outbreaks across the country. An outbreak is when you have 3 or more cases, but this compares to just 4 outbreaks in all of last year. And the upper Midwest appears to be somewhat of a hotbed right now. We've got 16 cases so far this year in Minnesota, 1 in South Dakota, 1 in Wisconsin, but 67 in Illinois. And when you look at all of the cases across the country, a high percentage of them, 85%, are unvaccinated. And Minnesota tends to lag behind here just a little bit. 87%, only 87% of our kindergartners are vaccinated against measles by the time they get to kindergarten, compared to our peer states, much higher. In fact, Nebraska is at 95%. So what does a kindergartner actually need to go to school? Well, DPT, polio, MMR, which is your measles vaccine, along with hepatitis B, and varicella, which is chickenpox. And epidemiologists I've talked to say that with school only 4 weeks away, right now is the perfect time to get your kids into the doctor.
As we're nearing back to school, now is a great time to get vaccinated, particularly when we're seeing measles in the community. It can change people's calculus in terms of the risk benefits. So please go and make that appointment with your provider now.
And here's where you can get your vaccines if you cannot get an appointment with your primary care doctor. In fact, Hennepin County is going to have a number of clinics this month, but the first one is coming up this Friday. It's going to be from 1:30 to 4 at the Centro Tyrone Guzman Center. This is basically Franklin in Chicago. And then in Ramsey County, the Public Health Center at 555 Cedar Street. And I've put a link to all of these vaccination clinics, in addition to primary care sites near your location. We'll have it on fox9.com. Kelsey?
All right. Thanks, Tim.